I will just begin by acknowledging that there's just that one presence, and I see it in the face of everybody here, and I'm grateful to be a part of that. So I'm just knowing that today is a blessed time that wonderful souls are coming together for the further expansion and expression of that infinite divine one mind that shows up in and as and through each and every one of us. So I know that this day's service is blessed for everybody in attendance, everybody that's watching online, everybody that watches on a future date, that this is absolutely the divine unfolding of such a magnificent, infinite expression of life. So, in deepest gratitude for all that are here for a blessed day to carry us forward throughout this year, I say thank you, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living and our Sunday meditation. My name is Valerie Data. I'm a licensed practitioner here at the center. Thank you so much for coming. So this morning's meditation, guided meditation, the theme is exploring interconnectedness. So find a comfortable place to sit. Just be with your body and breathe. I invite you to close your eyes or bring your gaze low until a crease of light shines through. Notice what's coming up for you, what the body is aware of right now. What are you feeling? Notice how your body is breathing. No judgment, just observation. Check in with the interconnected union we have with the body from the inside out. Breathe through the nose deeply to the top of the breath. Release the breath and soften. Expel all the air from your lungs until you reach the bottom of the breath. Feel the body breathing. Remember who you are, what's underneath the surface of your being, the interconnected self. Soften and surrender. Surrender to old ideas of you. Breathe. Feel the breath and remember who you are. As you sit, remember what's beneath you, the layers of us, and surrender the body. Feel the body supported by what's beneath it. Feel the breath and become aware of the body. You are not your body. The body is a tool. You are the highest vibration of light and energy. Breathe and honor the tool. Honor the feet that support you. Notice your feet and what's beneath them. Soften the feet. Breathe. Surrender. Soften the ankles and calves. Feel the vibration from the ground drawing up the legs, softening the knees and thighs. Feel the breath. Remember who you are and why we're here together. In solidarity with the body, the mind, and the higher vibrated self. Soften the hips and buttocks. Surrender the body. Allow the body to breathe. Release the belly and notice the lower back and sacrum. Breathe in light and space there. Feel the breath. Open the mind. Relax the belly, seat, and the gut. Notice the duality of that seat in the body. Feel the breath. Soften. Remember who you are and the connection we have with the energetic self. Feel the torso breathing with fullness as the heart raises with deep love and surrender. Soften the spine. Release tension in the back. Feel your arms get heavy as the weight is released from the shoulders. Feel the neck long as the arms draw down. Soften the fingers, representing the details of life. Release the palms of your hands. What do you hold on to? Surrender, soften, breathe. Feel the breath and the body as a tool. Release the wrists and forearms. Soften the elbows, biceps, and triceps. Breathe. Feel lightness in your arms, the tool of your embrace. The body is a tool. How do you use it? Bring awareness to the throat. Relax the throat and open it. Release tension in the jaw and mouth. How do you use your mouth in language? Soften the mouth. Honor the words that come through with intention and action. Release the face and jaw. Bring awareness to the ears. Pay attention to what you hear and take in. Surrender. Feel the body breathing. Bring awareness to the eyes. Soften the eyelids and the eyebrows. Bring attention to what you see. The mind remembers what you look at. It stores information from the eyes and ears. Do you see or do you turn away? Soften and know the heart is listening. Feel the breath and soften the mind, the body. The breath is a tool to help us soften the body and remember who we are. The breath is a symbol of this movement of interconnectedness. Breathing is a privilege. Breathing is the catalyst of the movement within us. Surrender the body. Feel the breath and use your tools to breathe into the higher vibrated self. Feel the body breathing, interconnect and still. This is a movement. Remember who you are. Remember what's beneath you and surrender to the higher sense of self. We are energy beings vibrating together in union, in light, interconnected. Deepen the breath. Inhale through the nose and exhale with a soft sound. Repeat this 2 more times. Hold the breath, remembering what you stand for, the interconnectedness of us. Bring both palms together toward your heart. Inhale in solidarity to the privilege of breathing, because we can breathe. As we exhale, bow the head down and honor those who can't breathe. And now releasing your hands to your lap. Beginning to become aware of yourself in the seat and the room around you. Bring your awareness back. Feel the joy of who you are and whose you are. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. So, celebration will begin at 10:30. You're welcome to stay seated in the sanctuary or join us back at that time. Thank you.
I on? All right. That is. Good morning, everybody. Let's try that again. Happy New Year. Oh, it's wonderful to see you all here this morning on this beautiful, beautiful Florida morning. And my name is Teresa Wilson, and I'm going to be your host for today. I'm super excited about this service. I know it's going to be exactly what we need to continue to learn and grow and evolve. And we get to start this morning off with our Big Love Band and welcome Ralph back. So great to have you back here. All right. Thank you. Go ahead and stand up, and I'm sure this is going to be something we can sing along with. Thank you.
Good morning.
Hello.
I think I need a little more. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. All right, we're going to get started with some songs you might know or might be new to you. So get some blood flowing and dance with us and sing with us. Yay. Oh. Sonny lost his ears. He's gonna
That's a hard thing to do.
That's a hard thing.
I don't need a whole lot of money. I don't need a big fine car. I got everything that a man could want. I got more than I could ask for. I don't have to run around. I don't have to stay out all night. 'Cause I know the Spirit that lives in me, and I know set my soul free. When the Spirit lives in me, well, the Spirit lives in me. Know that it's some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful. Talking about God here. Is there anybody here knows what I'm talking about? Come on now. Is there anybody here that knows what I'm talking about? Well, can I get a witness? 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 Don't you know that it's some kind of wonderful, 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 some kind of wonderful. Can I hear a going in? Some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful. Can I hear an amen? Some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful, some kind of wonderful.
All right. Are we awake now? Just wanted to make sure about that.
Oh, that was some kind of wonderful. Thank you, guys. All right. So wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. We are co-creators with the divine, and you can change your entire life by changing your mind. Right. So Ernest Holmes is the founder of our spiritual philosophy, and we teach the truths found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. If you want to know more about what we believe and what we teach, please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org or come up and ask, any of us to explain what we're all about. You can also submit a prayer request, and those prayer requests will go to our practitioners who are the prayer arm of this church. And you can also send us your comments and questions. And I wanted to say thank you to Valerie Data. She is one of our practitioners, and she is holding high watch during our service. That means she's just holding us in higher consciousness, knowing that exactly what needs to transpire through this service will transpire today. Thank you. All right, and now we have another song from the Big Love Band.
All right. Yes, this is still a dancing one, so feel free to dance in this one too. Right this moment, this very moment, life is happening right in front of you. Right this moment, this very moment, life is changing and everything is new. Right this moment, this very moment, in the only place you can be. Right this moment, this very moment, contains every single possibility. Trust yourself to find your way. Take a step and seize the day. Right this moment, this very moment, is the point of all your power. Right this moment, this very moment, could just be your next finest hour. Right this moment, this very moment, is your time to choose again. Right this moment, this very moment, is the place of your coming home. Be silent, be still, know the power in you is real. Right this moment, your heart is beating. Right this moment, the earth is turning. Right this moment, the seasons are changing. Right this moment, your soul is yearning to be free. Right this moment, this very moment, life is calling you out to play. Right this moment, this very moment, muses whisper in your ear saying don't delay. Right this moment, this very moment, is your time to choose again. Right this moment, this very moment, is where your new life will begin. Trust yourself to find your way. Take a step and seize the day. Spring is flowing, the sun is shining. This precious moment is so defining.
Right this moment, very moment, right this moment, very moment, right this moment, very moment, right this moment, very moment.
Thank you. I'm feeling in the moment now. Right this moment.
All right, and now is the time that we get to welcome each other and bestow a blessing on one another. So if you could please stand up, warm up your hands, look into each other's eyes. Okay, and please join me in saying, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center. Thank you.
One power, indescribable, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Mahalula, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different color, different names. Difference is only dangerous when we forget in our hearts we're all the same. Remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances was never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Mahalula, Hashem or heaven's door. It's my heart, it's our mind, it's our soul, it's our sign, it's the universe, the music on earth all the time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. One power of love, oh love in you and me. One power, one power, oh, one power, yeah. One power, oh, oh, one power, pride of the nation. One power, one power. One
Magnificent. Okay. And now I'd like to welcome our practitioner for the day, which is Melissa. And she's going to come up here and do a reading and a meditation with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. And as she mentioned, my name is Melissa Tuff, and I am one of the licensed practitioners here today. And it is my great pleasure to bring our reading and prayer for this morning. So, if you have been following along, this month's theme is Root and Reboot, and today we are focusing on the universal voice. So I would like to share a passage from the Science of Mind textbook, and this is on page 366. Jesus spent much of his time communing with his own soul, for it is through our inner thought that we contact God. To this remarkable man, out of the silence of his own soul came a direct revelation of his sonship, his oneness with God. Back of the conflict of ideas, back of the din of external life and action, back in the innermost recesses of the uplifted thought and silent contemplation, there is a voice ever proclaiming, "This is my beloved Son." Seldom does this voice penetrate the outer world of human experience. Seldom does anyone allow it to perfectly express through him. We must learn to listen for this voice. Call it conscious, intuition, or what we will. It is there. No man need go unguided through life, for all are divine at the center and are images of the Most High. And so as we take these words and thoughts into the opportunity to hold someone in the light, I invite you this morning to maybe bring someone to light that has not had that connection with you, that maybe you saw a little different, that perhaps your voices don't seem to align in unison. Bring that person to mind now as we hold them in the light, just acknowledging and knowing that they are a part of that one voice, that universal voice that is everywhere and always present. And let us just contemplate on that person or people for just a moment. And so just knowing that there is no separation, there is just that sense of oneness, that one creator, that one source, that one voice, seeking fuller, freer expression by means of each and every one of us as individuals in only the ways that we can express. Knowing that each one is a divine, unique, connected part of that whole, and that life as we know it would not be the same without each and every one of us showing up in our own unique, magnificent, and divine way. And just knowing that each one is that intricate part of the whole, I'm just so grateful to know and to celebrate each and every person as they show up here today and every day. I speak a word of blessing over our service, just knowing that each one here is here by divine appointment, and that we are each receiving that divine message that is meant for each and every one of us as individuals to receive, and that we leave here today feeling a little more connected, a little more in tune with that universal voice, acknowledging it and allowing it to just ripple out into the world, creating that wonderful, beautiful, loving world that truly does work for everyone. So standing in gratitude for this and so much more, I release my words to the law of mind, that law of one, that law of the universal voice, knowing that it is done. Together we can claim and anchor this by saying, "And so it is." And now it is my great pleasure to bring up our senior minister, Reverend Chris Lahef.
Well, good morning, everybody. What a pleasure it is to be here. What a pleasure it is to see so many, wonderful faces. The universal voice. It is what is moving through us all the time, and I see it. It expresses in so many different ways, and it's really just what gives life, when we're open to it, a joyous way of being. So right now, I want to start by just taking a second and fast forwarding through our lives into that place and time when we leave this world behind. Is there one thing, one trait or quality or thing that you would like to be remembered for or as? Just take a second and think about that. Now, whatever it was that came to you and popped into your mind, that's the universal voice. That's it. It's that simple. And it's, when we aren't forcing it, it's just right there for us. And so those things, those desires, intentions, inspirations that we have, that is the universe expressing its infinite nature through you, through each and every one of us. Now, when I started, contemplating this talk, I had that idea of, let's look within and see what comes up for each of us. And my mind started thinking, maybe that one thing would be, I want to be remembered as being kind. Or maybe it's compassionate. And then I'm like, well, that's boring. Everybody's going to say that. And then quickly, I caught myself no, not everybody's going to say that. We are so various and different that we all have our different things that we feel inspired by. I have this tendency to think what I think is what everybody thinks, or everybody should think. And how boring that would be, and how not infinite that would be. The universe, one power that the Daniel Nahmat song, it's one thing. We talked about this last week, that when you pull back far enough and you look at the universe, or at the infinite group of universes, multiverse, you pull back far enough, it's just one thing. And so just by definition, we are part of that one thing. We are all one. Well, that thing, the thing that Ernest Holmes calls the thing itself, the founder of the science of mind, I call it God most frequently because that's the closest word that I can use to come to it. But again, like I mentioned last week, it doesn't even come close to this, to encompassing what this really is. We could look at the infinite nature of the universe and the vastness and just know, a word like God, Spirit, it doesn't even begin to do it justice. But whatever that thing was that began as consciousness, the way I see it, it wanted to know itself and its infinite nature. It just was. It just was. And it has been for eternity, which is another thing that human beings really, we don't have the capacity to even understand what eternity means. We kind of, we have an intellectual kind of idea, but they say that we really can't know it. But with that thing that has been, the way that I see this whole universe unfolding is that it wanted to know itself in its infinite way, so it had to split itself. Have you ever thought about how you look through somebody else's eyes? The first time that I had that idea, I had done something that was kind of embarrassing, and I'm like, I wonder what they think of me. All these people around, they just saw that. I wonder what they think of me. And then I thought about that and looked a little deeper, what about those moments when you're with your beloved, or you're with somebody that you just witnessed them do something that was really cool, and you're like, I wish they could see themselves through my eyes right now, because they would know how infinitely awesome they are. That's what I pictured, this one thing, that spirit has this infinite potential. It's only limited by imagination. So just how we can imagine anything in our mind, it's the same mind, and that is the nature of the universe. But it can't know itself unless it can see itself from the outside. And so that thing breaks itself into two, so it can interact with itself. It can share ideas. And then it thinks about, I want to watch that interaction, so it breaks itself off again. So now there's a witness watching these two interact. And then it's well, what about a group of us? And then what if I come at you from a different angle that you don't agree with? And let's have a fight. Let's have an argument. And then it starts to know deeper nature, and then it evolves and evolves and expands until we are infinite, little tiny pieces of God. All of us containing the whole, that infinite potential within us, and that thing is seeing through our eyes. So those inspirations, when I asked what you would want to be remembered by, we all, even if there was 10 people in this room that say compassion, I can guarantee you if we wrote down definitions of what that means to us, those 10 people would write 10 completely different definitions. Might have some similarities, but it's going to be different. And just what I picture that in my mind is different than what I would write, because words just can't get the feeling. The universal voice is more of a feeling. And that is how that infinite thing gets to experience itself and begin to know its true nature. So in the big picture, you can't get it wrong. In eternity, in an infinity, you can't get anything wrong. Now, where it gets a little messy is here in this physical existence that we have, where we get to experience and experiment with that infinite nature. You can get it wrong. We see it all the time. We make mistakes, we falter. Sometimes we make really poor choices. Sometimes people get into such a state of separation of knowing their true nature that they sometimes commit horrible things. And there is consequences in this real world. And as Ernest Holmes talks about, there's cause and effect. What we think, we attract to us. How we act is the reality that we are creating. And so there is consequences in this physical world. And that's, again, part of the beautiful way of experiencing itself in that infinite nature. But the good news is, in infinity, in eternity, you really can't get it wrong. So we can just let go a little bit. Have a little fun in this life. Explore and play. Now, as there's all those different ideas of what we want to be when we leave behind, and you'll look at our legacy, every single part of it is needed in order to know infinity. So what's speaking to you, it's important. It's important for you to share it, to be it with the world. And we know this and we witness it when we see those people that are living to the fullest, living their dream. Or when you see, I'm going to use like the example of Mozart. Sometimes you hear something and it's, and I imagine different for everybody of what it is that we resonate with. But for me, like hearing Mozart or Pink Floyd, The Wall, that does it for me. Or maybe like a Monet painting, and you just see it, and you can feel the divine coming through it. That's people that have heard that universal voice and have opened up, and that's the richness. And when you see somebody else do it, it gives somebody else permission to do it. And when you do it, it gives the people like in your immediate circle permission to do it too. We have so many different tendencies in this world, so many different ways of being. Sometimes we're taught to kind of play small. Don't stand out. Don't, make other people uncomfortable when you do that. And, it's that whole kind of love and fear thing. Are you leaning towards love with a capital L, which is a word that I use interchangeably with God or spirit? It's just the force, big love. Or are you leaning towards, like that restriction and compactness? In the big picture, it doesn't matter, because it just is. It is all of that. And in order to know itself as that love, it's got to also know everything that's different than that. And so it's fine when we make mistakes, because that's how it knows and how it experiences. But we live in a greater joy when we are tuning into it, when we're listening to that voice. And when we're not listening to it, we feel it. There's something kind of missing and pulling at us. We see midlife crisis sometimes, that people have done all the things. They've jumped through all the hoops. They got the job. They got the education. They had 2.1 children. They've got 2,500 square feet to live in. And why am I still miserable? Why do I feel like something's missing? But it's not really missing. It's right here. It's our very nature. You can't be anything without it. So just like that notion that popped in your head when you're thinking about like, what do I want to be known as? It's closer than your breath. As Jesus said, the Father and I are one. That wasn't saying him, Jesus, and the Father or the infinite were one. It's saying You, all of us, we are all one with that thing. So it's beautiful how it expresses through us, that one voice, that universal voice. And we can witness it and see it with our desires. But sometimes humans have that tendency to think it's all about me. It's all about humanity. But look outside and we see the birds and the streams. We see trees that just grow. They just are. And they're just constantly this lava lamp of life and love that's just flowing all the time, all over. And it's absolutely breathtaking. We see geological outcroppings that have taken millions of years to form these awesome mountains. It's all of it expressing itself. But we are kind of like the little sensory organs that get to share it back into that one mind. Humanity, we have developed our consciousness to a point where we can start to know that, start to seek it, where other more simple thinking, less complex thinking organisms, they just celebrate and revel in it. But even the rock, when you break it all down, all to electrons and neutrons, it's celebrating too. And so it's really just amazing how the infinite nature shows up for our joy and our experience. And so I was trying to think of what kind of images can I present just to show the universal voice as it presents through nature. And I had the idea of seeking out some of these pictures of orchids. So this is an orchid that in time has adapted to become, looks like a praying mantis. There's some more orchids. Unbelievable. That's a flower. You can't tell me that there isn't some mind behind it all. No way. It's absolutely too amazing. There's a duck flying off of a plant. How does that happen? And we are part of that. I want everybody to feel that we are that magnificent, that perfect. You can't get it wrong. Celebrate and be that. And don't let that, that voice that's within you be quashed, kind of pushed down, thinking small, trying to, fit in. We're here for a reason, and we have our desires and the things that, we are attracted to, that we want to express into this world, and we owe it to the world to do that. So this is how that voice can outpicture through absolutely everything. But in the science of mind, where we're here, this is where it gets fun. We are part of that universal voice. So it speaks through us and we hear it. But it also hears us. So when we see that inspiration and we act on it, Emerson tells us, when you make a decision and commit, the universe shows up and it has your back. So our job is to learn to say yes to all of that. Follow those desires. Create the things and watch, the universe as it opens up for us. So that's what we practice here in the science of mind. We know that everything begins in thought. Like this podium right here. Before it became a podium, it was an idea in somebody's mind. Whether it's the owner of the podium company or the engineer, designer that designed it, said, I want to create one, and thinking, I want this one to be clear. That'd be kind of cool. So it's going to need something to hold it. It needs a heavy base. It was all just an idea. But here it is. It's manifest, and it's made real. Where does that idea come from? Well, the complex level of thinking that we are as human beings, we get our inspiration, and then we feed back into it. And we're like, well, maybe I'll put this little ledge down here. Spirit says, okay. Maybe I'll put the ledge up here instead of down here. Why does everything keep sliding off of it? We have free will. We can create things, and we're here to make mistakes, to get messy, and explore. But when we think about that one universal voice, we can begin to use it to create our reality. That's a simple, concrete way that we see how we are creating reality. But it goes deeper than that. We practice what is called affirmative prayer. And it's a 5-step organized form of praying. I talked a little bit about it last week. And it begins with just recognizing that we are part of that one infinite thing. And then the second step is to remind ourselves that we are part of it, that there's only one thing, we are part of it. And then we speak our truth into it. So what it is that we are praying for, we know that. We have to begin in mind. Because you can't make a podium until you have a clear picture in your mind of what it is that you want to make. You can maybe kind of haphazard slap something together, and it might come out okay. But it's much more pleasing to us when we open up to that bigger picture, to that universal voice. So as we then know this truth and we speak that into the mind, the whole creative power of the universe steps up to it, and it aids us in that. The thing that is the infinite nature, it's already all of it. Anything that you can desire, it already is that. So us, as we listen to the universal voice, and then as we put our universal voice back into it, it's this give and take, and it absolutely creates our reality. So there's power in that. There's healing in that. There's attraction and abundance, all of it. There's the coming together of a lot of people here in this room. There's a lot of people watching at home, people that'll watch later in the week. So for everybody that wasn't like dragged here by like a significant other, that came here on their own volition and said, I want to go and explore some spirituality. Let's go talk God, let's talk deeper nature, whatever it is that you want to call it. That's the universal voice that pulls us in these directions. So I absolutely have, I'm brand new at this. This is my second week, as an official position. But I have the pleasure of coming into the presence of seekers, of people that know there is something bigger than what I've maybe believed in the past. Something bigger that society hasn't caught up to yet. Society has, it's performed its functions, and there's been inspiration all throughout time. And I think we've created some pretty amazing things. We've definitely made some mistakes along the way, and there's things that we can do better. But that's, the unfolding of that universal voice. And so as more of us, recognize that that voice is here for us, that we can use it to co-create this reality, it spreads. And society, I really honestly, at the core of my being, believe that we are at a point in our history where we are waking up. And more people are recognizing that there is this thing that's bigger than us. And everything up to this point has done its thing for us, but it's also a time that we need to shift in consciousness. We have to figure out new ways of thinking and of being, and that universal voice is one of the ways, the only way that we receive the inspiration and the ideas. So I am deeply, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so thankful for everybody that's here, because you are that shift. You are what's making this world into the new way of being. And that's powerful. So now, as each and every one of you being here, I want to just take a minute and just think inside. What is it that universal voice is calling you to? What are you feeling? And anything that you can imagine the infinite can bring about. Now, I'm going to finish on one thing that I found this article, stumbled across it a couple weeks ago, and it was somebody who's in end-of-life care, end-of-life treatment. And in their 20-plus years of experience, they have recognized the common trend of what people wished they had done different. And so they compiled a list of 5 different things. So number 5 on that list was they wish they had let themselves be happier. It sounds so simple, and it's a great reminder for me, and I recognize how sometimes my universal voice going back into it isn't letting me do that sometimes. Sometimes it focuses on the things that, are they really that important? some of these things? What can we let go of? How can we just let ourselves be more happy? And then they wish they had stayed in touch with friends. Guilty, myself. I mean, I've got so many wonderful friends that I haven't talked to in 20 years. I think about them, maybe send a Facebook message every now and then. I need to step it up. I can see this being one of my regrets when I get to the end of my life. And then wish they'd had the courage to express their feelings. That universal voice, that thing that we want to put out there. But maybe when we were little and we tried and somebody's like, oh, don't do that. They're going to make fun of you. Don't do that. You're making, it's making me uncomfortable. Or, express your feelings that sometimes make other people feel sad for you. That elicit empathy. Sometimes people don't feel that they can lay that on somebody. But in this new way of being on the planet, if we shift into a new consciousness, we can be there and we can just hold that presence to just let your feelings out and not feel that you need to comfort and tell somebody that makes me feel uncomfortable. Just let it out. Our feelings are important. Yeah. So that one, for anybody that can't read it, it says they wish they didn't work so hard. I've heard this over and over from so many different hospice workers, other people like this. They say they have never heard somebody on their dying wish, their dying last breath say, if only I had gone into work more often. And I think, even for the people that are living their inspired dreams and that is their work, I think, even for them, they don't say, I still wish I would have worked more. Hopefully for them, it's like the exact perfect amount. But now the reason why I wanted to include this list is because of number one. I wish they had lived life true to themselves instead of others' expectations. So again, that's back to what I'm talking about, is it's heartbreaking to see the light dimmed in others. But it's empowering and invigorating when we see people that are listening to that voice and they are putting it out there for the world to celebrate with them. I've heard Wayne Dyer, a quote attributed to him that said, don't die with your music still in you. And hallelujah, when one, you figure out what that music is, and then two, when you say yes with that universal voice and stepped into it. So, our homework, our call to action, if you want one, I'm not here to tell anybody what they need to do. Everybody knows what they need to do or what they would like to do. But our call to action this week, knowing that not everybody is going to have the number one, that's not going to resonate with everybody in the room. But is there anything on this list that you're like, yeah, maybe I should be doing that? Let's do it. Let's do it this week. I want to come back here next Sunday, and I want you to come up to me and say, I reached out to a friend I haven't talked to in 30 years. I took a day off, and nothing burned down. Whatever it is. But every little shift that we can just bring our intention and our consciousness to, our awareness, and recognize, let our light shine. Let other people know that you see their light shining. All these little things, it creates the new earth that Eckhart Tolle talks about, a new way of being, where we recognize more for you is more for me. It's more for us. It's not the old way where in order for me to get mine, that means somebody's got to lose a little bit. That's the old way of thinking. We're an abundant, infinite universe. And so as we take these little shifts one at a time, we ultimately create the reality that we would like to live in, or at least that I would like to live in. Maybe not everybody does. But I think it's inevitable that we are, the arc of history always leans toward kindness. We do the shuffle, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Maybe 2 steps back, 1 step forward. It's a dance. But if we look throughout the history of humanity, it's undeniable. We are moving towards more kindness, more love, and more peace. So with that, I will conclude with Howard Thurman, a great teacher, that says, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. That's all it needs. And it's as simple as just acknowledging that voice and following through on it. So I want to take this into prayer for just a moment, knowing that that thing, that universe, is always speaking through us. So each and every person is part of that one, an infinite, individualized piece of that one with all the potentialities of the whole within. So each and every person has that voice, that universal voice speaking to it in its ear. And we speak back and create the reality that we desire. So each and every person that hears these words, and each and every person outside of these words, may that voice ring true and bright and inspire one another to love one another in the sense of that big L love that is so beyond anything else, because it is the infinite. So I just give thanks and gratitude for each and every person leaning into this week of opening up to that universal voice. And I let these words go, knowing that it is already done in the infinite, because that's the only way it can be. And so it is. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll try. I'll do that. Okay. So this is the time of the service where we get to celebrate that abundance that flows through us. So that universal voice, what does it say to you? Like, what does it say about this place? What does it say about people that come together, bringing awesome music to come celebrate in life, bringing a nice space that we get to share? That's the infinite, that's the universal voice, and that's what calls to us. So I invite you to, as we invite the ushers up here for a collection, whether you're at home watching and you're receiving inspiration and guidance, as we share in our time, treasure, and talents, we are telling that universal voice that this is important to us and that we want to see more of this and that it is a good thing. So here at Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral, we make it easy to help support this. So there's several ways that you can. Text to tithe. That one works great. You just text give to that number, and it will text anywhere to it. It'll give you directions. And once you set it up, then you can just send them out every time after that. You can send your contribution through PayPal at cslcapecoral.org, or just go to the website, cslcapecoral.org, and hit the donate button. And there are offers there that you can share in. And if you have any prayer requests, you can put them in the basket. We will pass those around with our practitioners. We share in that, and we will hold that in consciousness for the week. Trust us. The universal voice, when we talk into it, prayer works. So give it a try. See how it works for you. And other than that, I believe we have, well, we have the affirmation, tithing affirmation. I knew there was something that we had to share in. So let's say this all together. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. All right, and then we'll hear some music and we'll pass the baskets. Thank you.
Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good.
All right. So we will bless the offerings that you have contributed, whether now or any time during the week. So, just know and hold your hand over your heart, knowing that this is a blessing to continue this work, to continue sharing together and creating this community that we are, that everything that was given expands, grows, multiplies, and creates abundance, and that it is offered, shared, given out in all of the idea of creating this universal voice, echoing out, reverbing throughout this community, throughout the state, throughout the region, throughout the entire globe, connecting with all that is also given across the globe today and throughout the week, that it is all expanding and multiplied to create this reality that we will revel in and continue to celebrate, enjoy. So this is blessed, we are blessed, and so it is. Nice. And then one last thing before I turn over to Teresa with the announcements is I just want to acknowledge, as we talk about sharing in our time, treasure, and talents, all the wonderful, hardworking people that came out yesterday and took part in the beautification day. I still haven't seen the inside of the shed. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Give everybody a big hand. It was unbelievable, the work, that Roger had a crew going out there that I had no idea how much stuff was out there. And somebody's got to show me a picture. I was told there's a picture of what it looked like afterwards. But just thank you to everybody that was here offering your time and your talents. So thank you.
The only thing that happened was the mice are not happy, and neither is our resident black snake.
Oh, well,
They don't have to eat anymore.
well, the mice and the snake, sometimes they don't play well together, but hopefully they've found their new locations, and it's even better. Always something bigger and better is always waiting for us. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you. Oh, thanks so much. Okay. All right. So now it's time to do announcements. Do we have one for our visioning exercise for today? No? Yeah. Okay. So today, after this service, we are going to have a vision board workshop. And I will be here. I'm super excited about it. It's being led by Melissa and Crafty Cat. And there is a $15 love donation for that. Are people able to still attend? Yeah? Okay. We did ask for folks to sign up in advance because they're bringing supplies, and there will be refreshments and whatnot too. And we're going to start that at noon at 12 o'clock. All right. So please, if you didn't sign up in advance, please feel free to join us. And so I also want to let you know about an upcoming Course in Miracles study group. And Melissa Arterberry is, and Patty Carney are sponsoring that. And that starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I guess, Melissa, do you want to come up for 1 second, just give the lowdown on that? I know there's a lot of details there. So, yeah. Sure, you can speak loudly. Oh, yeah, okay.
Good morning. I am Melissa Arterberry, and I'm so excited to offer our community, CSL and beyond. So anyone that you may know, if you want to bring along with you, if you're planning to attend tomorrow at 10 o'clock to 11:30, we will meet. We will study Gerald Jampolsky's book, Love is Letting Go of Fear. That will bring all of us on the same page together, because there will be a spectrum of experience from people attending for the first time to learn about the Course, as well as those that have maybe studied the Course in Miracles for years. So once we've completed the book, we will go on to practice the lessons that are daily for a year. So there are 365 lessons, and this is all an invitation. So show up on Monday and come as you can, as consistently as you desire. So it is an open group, and so we're always open to someone new. So if you find that you like it and it's working for you, please do always know you can bring someone with you. And lastly, we are offering an online group as well, Thursday evenings from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and that's the same exact format. It is suggested for a $10 love donation, but of course no one's turned away. So I hope to see many of you on Monday or perhaps Thursday evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Melissa. All right. Super cool. We also are going to have another course coming up. So if any of you are new to the center, one of the things that is really important to this beautiful spiritual practice is that we're constantly learning. We're reading, we're talking, we're meditating, we're praying, but we're coming together to just keep moving forward in our knowledge and consciousness. And so we have a course that's coming up. We will have the details of that. I'm sure we'll have that by next Sunday. But the course is Essential Earnest, and it really is an overview of some of the key writings and concepts of our founder, Ernest Holmes. We will have books available for sale in the bookstore, and I know Chris is going to be teaching this course. I will definitely be taking it. It will be a really great opportunity to get exposure and understand more and go deeper in the writings of Ernest Holmes. We already talked about that. And we will be having weekly gatherings. Oh, we talked about that already. So on Monday, the 16th, which is MLK Day, we will be marching in a march, and I assume, Melissa, do you want to maybe share any more information about that? Yeah, thank you.
So I know that this is last minute, but actually Reverend Chris was presented with this opportunity, and we decided that we would extend it out to our community, as we do have our diversity and inclusion team. And so we are always looking for new ways to get out into the community and show our inclusivity and diversity and support our community in bigger, better ways, just knowing that we are all a part of that one love and that one mind. And so we are going to be meeting downtown. The walk does end at Centennial Park. There's a big event that's going to be going on down there for most of the day, actually, so you can kind of come and plan to spend a good chunk of the day down there if you'd like. I actually misplaced the paper, so I wasn't sure of the time. I do know it's... I believe the march starts at 10 o'clock. At 10, okay. Dunbar High School, I believe it was. So I will be sending that information out in an email, so check your email in the next 24 hours, and that will be also in our announcements this week as well.
All right, thank you. We can put something up on our website about that too, so let's connect. I have one more announcement, and if Ralph, you want to come on over? This is so Chris said, don't the quote was, don't die with a song left still in your heart. Yeah. And when you were talking about Mozart and music and that our art that just is desiring to be expressed, when I think about that, I really think about Ralph, who is a perpetual songwriter and constantly sharing his musical gifts with our community and the world. And I get so much from your music and from your lyrics that really have had an impact on me. So Ralph is going to have a singer-songwriter event coming up. And Ralph, I'm going to let you just share the details on that.
I'm not going to have a singer-songwriter event. The Lee County Library, in association with the Americana Community Music Association, which is an organization that supports local singer-songwriters and has other national acts come through. On January, this is even more last minute than the last one. This is January 10th, which is Tuesday, from 6 to 7:30 at the main library downtown in the plaza. There's a big plaza outside if you've ever been down there. They sponsor songwriter events, and I will have the absolute joy of performing with Bill Metz and Ray Serbone. Bill Metz was here last year when we had a singer-songwriter circle here, and he's just an incredible guy. Ray Serbone I have not played with, but I've heard his stuff, and he's great. And I'm kind of not bad either. Anyway, singer-songwriter event, Plaza, 6 to 7:30 Tuesday. Thanks.
Thank you, Ralph.
There is another flyer out by the door.
Yeah, flyer here, and you can take a picture of it with your phone. Okay, and we're going to have, as we close, we're going to have one more song by the Big Love Band. But before that, I would just want to say, at the end of this service, our practitioners, those are the folks that you'll see them wearing stoles, they're our prayer arm of this church, of our center. They're going to be up front. And it's a time for you to bring anything that's heavy on your heart, anything that you're wanting to see manifest in your life, anything that really you want just some connection and support for, an extra source of power and emphasis. You can come up and just say, hey, will you pray with me? And they will, and it's very powerful. You can watch it work in your life. So they'll be up here after the service. And with that, we're going to say, have an awesome week. And we have one more song with the Big Love Band, if we can all stand up.
All right, we're going to wake you up one more time before you go home.
Sing along.